Hi, it's Chantel, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Baroque. The Baroque period runs from about 1650 to about 1750, and it is a period of piety and extravagance. And you'll see that the images are very dramatic. It's very intense. Some important notes on the Baroque style. Uh, the success was encouraged by the Catholic Church. It was decided during the Council of Trent. The Protestant Reformation is happening, and the church felt that the arts needed to communicate religious themes to show that it wasn't just extravagant and over the top, that it was pious as well, that it shows the emotional feelings of the church. It also brings it into sort of a humanistic perspective in response to the Renaissance and the feelings that it's important to understand that the religious stories are people, and they're people with feelings and emotions. Also, the aristocracy really liked the style of the Baroque. It's very impressive, very over the top, and it lent itself to showing off, and you'll see some of this. This is the Baldacchino. It's a very famous piece by Bernini. It's a central altarpiece, but it is very typical of the Baroque. You can see it's very heavy, it's very ornate. In the Baroque, we see a lot of gold, a lot of embellishment, and a lot of heavy, dark colors because it's dramatic, it's intense. And when we look at some of the music, you'll see that the music sounds a lot like the images look. They're heavy, they're intense, they're powerful. And this is a huge canopy, and you can see that he played with these twisted columns and a lot of gold and a lot of ornateness. And behind us, behind the image here, we see the the revelation of for Teresa. Here it is behind her. So this is the moment that Gabriel spoke to Teresa, and the sunbeams are coming down, represented not only by a roof piece that lets the sunlight in, but also these gold sunbeams. Um, you can see that the emotions are very intense. Um, Another image of it. You can see that we're also playing architecturally with the images of the Greek and Roman, but instead of just a basic pediment here, we're going for curves, and we're going for breaking the pediment and making them even more embellished and intense, and drama is what this is about. There's a close up. Again, you can see the facial expressions. We're still really playing with how exquisite marble can be and how we can achieve these very thin fabric pieces in marble. But you can see it's a period of intense drama. Here is a sculpture. This is another David fighting the Goliath, and you can see that he's very dramatically poised. His expression is strong. He's twisted. We've got some contrapposto going on, the balancing of the body, very intense and dramatic. Comparison, you can see Michelangelo's David is, you know, yes, he's in the fight, but he's just standing there. He's relaxed. This other David, much more intense. You can see the muscles are tensed. He's ready to throw. This is the Trevi Fountain in France. It is um, a sculpture and a fountain, and you can see that the people in this, again, not relaxed, not still in any way, shape, or form. They are in the midst of action. Uh, Artwork is meant to be very dramatic. Here's another example of some Baroque architecture. This is another fountain piece in Paris. You can see that we're adding gold to the surfaces. We're adding additional embellishment. It's frosted, but it's heavy frosted. Here's a Baroque front of a building. You can see we've decided not just one pediment, we want both the triangular pediment and a curved pediment and some additional embellishment. We're going to take these volutes and add them to the sides of the building. We're just going to push the embellishment. Again, here, another building. We're playing with curvilinear lines on the front of the building with multiple columns, multiple embellishments on the top, the beginnings of having, domes on top of square pillars. This one, very Baroque. You can see we've taken the facade, but now it's curved because a front facade is not as interesting as a multi-curved facade, and swoops and decorative elements on the tops and sculptures and embellishment. Again, you see it here. This is, I believe this is part of the interior of Versailles. Um, lots of gold leafing because it's about more and about excess. Moving on. Oh, this is the Hall of Mirrors inside of Versailles. Louis XIV moved the French palace, the court moved from Paris to the outskirts of Paris. Initially, the Louvre was the palace of the king, and he moved out to Versailles and built this grand palace estate, very over the top. He wanted people to see the greatness of the king. And remember, in terms of piety, that it was strongly believed that the king was chosen by God. And so that makes the king an extension of God's will. And so to question the king is to question God. And if we celebrate the king, we're also celebrating God. And so the notion that celebrating the king is also pious kind of got wrapped up. And that was one of the things that during the Reformation we have some questions about is, why should all of our money go to the church and to the king? And, why are they more representative of God than a direct connection of praying, etc.? So this is the Hall of Mirrors. He's trying to show how amazingly grand he is. And it's quite exquisite with the chandeliers and the gold. Again, lots of gold leafing. This is a painting from this period, and we're going to see a lot of the Baroque paintings are also very, very dramatic. You can see the lines of this painting. It's not like a Renaissance painting where the portraiture is in the middle and it's still and it's elegant. We're now seeing very dramatic moments where, and we're at angles. The lighting, we start to employ something called chiaroscuro. That is a very strong contrasting difference between dark and light, using shadow and highlight to really bring about the object. And again, you can see the subject matter is very intense. As we see here, this is Judith slaying, I can't remember. Maybe Dave will remember and be able to embellish on this when he talks to you about it. I'll have to look it up. But you can see this is not an elegant portrait. This is also not the moment before or the moment after. We're seeing the moment of the slaying itself. Pretty intense stuff. Oh, and again, you can see chiaroscuro, lots of shadow, lots of highlight. Like in this region here where his hair falls to shadow. His arm falls to shadow and we don't see it anymore. And that's okay, because that's not where the focus is. We're playing with light in terms of drawing the eye and making you see what we want you to see. This is also the period of the Habsburgs. Um, so this is one of the Habsburg kings. Um, very dramatic. You can see very, very intense and strong and over the top. We're thinking, so Louis XIV, we're thinking Charles II. It's the period of Cavaliers, the Three Musketeers, all of those. This is a portrait um, by Velasquez. He did a lot of the families at this time. This is a famous piece. You can see it's a self-portrait, but it's an interesting take on self-portrait. And we talked about self-portraits with the last class and Durer. This self-portrait, the painter is in the picture, but only off to the side. He is painting the Infanta. She's the young princess, soon to be queen, and she's a Habsburg. Here are the parents reflected in the mirror. So the parents are standing where you are to look at this picture. And again, you can see it's a moment of action. They're not all posed for this portrait. They are it's almost like capturing a moment. And here it is, the full portrait. That was a close-up, but this is the full portrait. And again, you can see the artist. He's painting the painting. The Infanta is here. So then there's some question, is he painting the painting of the parents who are where you are? Is he painting her portrait? She seems to be the one posed. I love this moment where the little boy has his foot on the dog. He's petting the dog. It's a fun piece. Again, playing with highlight and shadow. Another Baroque piece, um, taking us back, looking at some of the gods and goddesses of the past. We have cherubs. We're going to see a lot of cherubs in the Baroque. Very active moment here. Again, not posed, but it looks like we happened upon this moment. Another painting from this period, heavy and dark, but active, very active. This is Renoir, the lady with the pearl earring. Again, a lovely, lovely portrait of this young lady. But again, it feels like it was captured in the moment, not that she didn't sit for this portrait. More portraiture. We're starting to see in the Baroque more celebration of the common person. This is a bunch of physicians performing an autopsy or an anatomical study, I suppose. Yeah, I think it's an anatomy class. And so he's teaching them, we're playing with the shadows, the vignetting of the outside, but this is not a standard subject for a portrait. So it makes it kind of interesting. Again, a family scene. And in terms of literature, we're talking the King James Bible, Paradise Lost, Done. Music, we'll play some of the music from this period. We're talking, the beginnings of opera, Handel's Messiah. Bach is very Baroque in sound. So when you listen to the music from this period, think about the images that you've been seeing. And with that, it brings us to a close. Thank you very much.